Well, welcome, Sterling Mire. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be here and I'm just having an amazing day, and that's the truth.
Wonderful. I'm happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. So, a little birdie told me about this awesome book that you've got coming out in January, and I'm really interested in hearing more about this. And I think my listeners will be also, not just my listeners, but my clients too. So, AOM. Tell me a little bit about it.
It's an acronym. Uh, AOM is an acronym for Art of Manifestation. And when you think about it, it's also quite perfect that the acronym itself is perfect because it's like Om.
Yeah.
If you wanted to say it, it's like So that in itself has a vibration to it that's very calming and centering and grounding. So this system that I developed it, well, I'll give you a nutshell version. I
Okay.
developed it 20 years ago. And the reason why, and I talk about this in the book a little bit, I talk about what led me, what was the impetus to create this system. And it was because I've always had the desire to live an extraordinary life, even at a young age. I just
Right.
wanted the best life possible. And so I got into the inquiry of life, if you will, started around 13. I started reading up on it. But the problem I was finding with the books out there and the information out there was that I would hit a brick wall. I would run into obstacles. It was great food for thought, but it wasn't changing my life. I would get done reading a book and go, that was inspiring, And the first one I read
Right.
was the Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz, which is written in the 50s, and my aunt gave it to me. And I was like, I remember going, I love this book. It's great. I love all these magical, miraculous stories that was being shared in the book. But when I closed the book, I just didn't know how to have a story like that for myself. And I would be so frustrated and so upset. And I'd be like literally talking to the back cover, like, Maxwell, I just don't get it. I really do. But what? I don't know how to access this. So the problem is that it remains a concept. Our lives are not changed when we read a lot of these books. They're inspiring, but we shut the book and then we go, okay, my life's not changed. What do I do now?
So we don't know how to implement it.
Yeah, because there's nothing really airtight. There's nothing like that's really, there's just concepts and ideas like practice gratitude. Okay, I did 100 times a day. Is that enough? My life better? I don't feel like it. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's so esoteric. So what I did is I continued to study until I finally said there has got to be a better way. So I started putting together my system, and I started really like a scientist experimenting with things, and I would log my results, and I would find what works and what didn't, what was fluff, what was not necessary. I found the perfect measurements for everything, and that's how my system got created. It became an airtight, foolproof, streamlined, only the absolute necessary working components to create and tap into your power, create literally a magical and miraculous life beyond any perceived constraints. So if you have a constraint, we think of constraints of like time. We think about our circumstances. We think about, our lack or what we don't have. These are things that we really think about and we let stop us. But however, that's an illusion. Time really doesn't exist unless we create it to be. I created this system because I wanted this extraordinary life. I used it in my life. I spent 5 years as that scientist to perfect it. And then I had the most amazing adventures. I did everything I wanted to do. My life worked when I used the system. And then I was touring the world as a musician, right?
Okay.
And I came back home and I decided to focus more on music licensing. I was getting a lot of opportunities that I couldn't really handle while I was on the road. And it was just time to kind of step back and take a bit of a break. So doing all the licensing and it left me with all this extra time. So I started sharing it with my friends and family, and I kid you not, word took off. And I overnight
Wonderful.
literally had clients, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm in business. And I love what I do. And people ask me, do I miss what I did do before? And I don't. I really don't, because it's still very creative. And I really feel like all the things that I did led me to where I am now. And this is where I am, meant to be. And I absolutely love my work. I love my clients. We celebrate all the time because there's constant breakthroughs and celebrations. And who doesn't love daily celebrations? So, so you could see why my work is so awesome. And so I worked with a lot of clients and corporate clients like Google and Beverly Wilshire and Hilton and Hyatt. And then finally, I decided to put it in book form because I wanted more people to be able to access it, to know about it. And also, I couldn't really keep up with the client demands. And I thought I've got to create more resources, and I got to be more
Right.
omnipresent because I want everybody to have access to this. And there you have it.
Well, and it comes at such a good time. I mean, you brought this together at such a good time when people are just down in the doldrums, and maybe they've got a I was talking to someone today and she said, I just don't even have any hope for the new year. And I'm like, well, it's the new year coming up. We can work on this. We can help you, So,
Yeah.
and when we're talking about energy and bringing that energy forth, that's created within ourselves, and how to manifest that. And so I certainly would like to learn more about this, and I'm sure that everyone else wants to also.
Yes,
So,
you're absolutely right. And the book is coming out January 1st. So it's going to be available very, very soon. And, I also have Blog Talk Radio forward
okay.
slash Sterling Mire. I take calls there. So I talk to people about any kind of manifestation conundrums they may have. And I have special guests. I've got incredible guests on there. I've had Harlan Williams, who has done over 67 top major films, Dumb and Dumber, Down Periscope, Something About
Okay.
Mary. He was the star of Disney's Rocket Man. And he has Puppy Dog Pals on Disney, which is
Okay.
going into the 6th season. This guy has done everything, and he was a guest on my show. And we talk about, what do you attribute your success to? And it's incredible because really he's had this innate ability, this rare ability to understand the manifestation process, and everything, he talks about. He's one of the few, that have that sort of innate understanding, and everything he's talking about is very much AOM system. So I have these great people. I've got Dee Wallace coming up, the mom from
Okay.
ET, and Cujo. I've got all these wonderful people on the show. So I just want to say it's out there, and it's a brand new show. So it's just now really gaining traction.
Okay.
So while people may be waiting for the book, I say tune in there because you're going to get a lot of great information ahead of time.
So can
So
they pre-order it?
you can do pre-orders, yes, on Amazon.
Okay.
Absolutely. And it's worldwide, of course. It's going up on Barnes and Noble and other outlets and that kind of thing. So that'll be all ready by the new year as well. But
Well,
yes,
and you and I were speaking earlier about the possibility of doing a couple webinars, educational classes. And this would be great to focus on this book and have a small, informal group brought together that everyone can study the book together and learn how to implement it at the same time that they're going through it. Um, it's been really tough working remotely, and I'm sure that this really would help put that working remote into perspective. I was reading an article today. What's the biggest way to help yourself when you're working remotely? Well, you can't see my office right now, but it's really, really a mess. And it said, clean your office. Okay, but how do I stop the procrastination from not wanting to clean my office?
That is such a really great question, because I have the most amazing share with you for you. I had a client who started working with me, and one of her biggest issues was procrastination, or getting the motivation or inspiration to do something, right? And she had taxes and everything piled up, and so what is fabulous about this, and because we live in a society where we want instant gratification, we want results immediately. As soon as people start working the system, immediately everything starts shifting. So we had that first session and we went through part one, because there's 4 parts to the system. And she had, before we even ended our session, she goes, "What do I do about procrastinating?" I said, "Guess what? Start part one. We'll talk about procrastination on our next session." She came, and I knew it was going to disappear for her. I knew it when she started part one. She came back and she goes, "Oh my God, I have no procrastination. Like, I want to do taxes. I want to clean out my closet, all these undesirable things." And she goes, "I just can't wait to jump in. What happened?" And I was like, "Exactly, because your blocks were removed and you are so free. Doing the dishes, doing anything is actually a joy. And you can actually connect it with that sense of productivity and that sense of accomplishment and that sense of, all right, I'm doing this with this kind of gusto and this enthusiasm, and like actually a joyful experience. Your experience can be absolutely transformed as well." And so that's what I have to say to procrastination. And that's how powerful this system is.
That is awesome. It's just phenomenal that you've done this. This is definitely something that I personally have been looking for. Well, geez, Sterling, I guess you got a new client in me. Okay. um,
Yay.
because I don't like to do paperwork and I don't like to clean my office and we got to clear this up. The other thing is that it's so good to give individuals something more to look forward to in the new year. A lot of
Yeah.
people feel that 2020 has just been wasted. And I don't ever think anything is a wasted time. But I have had several people say that to me. So taking our energy and focusing on the new year, and what adaptation do we need to make? And how do we know when to make that adaptation?
Um, when to make it? Today. You know what I mean? Like, there's no time better than now. But the thing is, what people start to realize is they've been approaching their lives backwards. So what they've been doing is focusing and trying to chip away and wrestle with changing what's not working. Yeah. Because
Right.
people are uber aware of what's not working. In fact, it consumes their every thought. And that's so backwards. So what we do when we work the AOM system is, first of all, we clear out the blocks. We get that clean slate, clear out all those blocks, everything, even to our earliest traumas. Everything is like you're a brand new person. And then from there, you're able to actually create what it is that you truly want without limitations or perceived constraints. And that's very important. So what I tell my clients, for instance, is I say, I know that you may sit there and think about what you want, and you think about what you can have, or what's reasonable, or what is, workable with your circumstances, right? We
Right.
don't want to do that. I say instead, I want you to write down exactly what it is that you want, as if you had a magic genie. So after you create that, yeah, you look back and you go, is this what I really want if I had a magic genie? Or, would it look like this? And if your answer is, well, no, if I had a magic genie, I could just have anything I want. It's like, good clue. That's your clue that you're not actually creating outside of your perceived limitations. So then they can go back and kind of modify it and go, this is what I really want if I had a magic genie. And guess what? That's what they get. And you know what? Going back to what we originally talked about with concepts, how do we change our belief system, our faulty belief system?
Right.
How do we actually tap into this power? By gathering evidence, right? So then they've got the part 2 done. This is what I truly, truly want. Now we got to gather the evidence that you can have that's coming into fruition, that it's already a reality now. So we go into part 3 and 4, which I combine, and that allows you to stay on track. And so staying
Okay.
on track gives you the evidence, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just did this. I just proved otherwise. I don't have to believe what I thought before. And the evidence is everything. So that's called experiential learning. You're learning through this experience. And what my clients really love is that they're able to create their day from the beginning of their day. Yeah, they literally create everything they want to happen in that day, like you have a magic genie. And I kid you not, when they look back at the end of the day, their percentile is anywhere between 85 and 100%.
Wow. Wow. That's phenomenal. That is just phenomenal. I
That's like
love it,
having
Sterling. I love it.
that's like
Yes.
having a magic wand, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, well, this has been a phenomenal conversation with you. I think we should wrap up because I think that we certainly have more that we can bring to our listeners. Why don't you talk a little bit about your podcast, where they can find it? They can pre-order the book on Amazon. We are talking about doing some educational forums too. You and I haven't worked the details out on that yet, so we
Yeah.
need to do that.
Yeah.
And just a little bit more. Just I love
Yeah.
it. I love it.
People can always find me on social media. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I have a YouTube channel, Manifest Your Dreams. My website is incredible. I've got client testimonial videos. I've got testimonials that'll knock your socks off. When you read the testimonials, it's important to keep in mind, these testimonials were written between 2 and 4 weeks. If you
Okay.
don't know that, you probably think, oh God, this person's probably been doing this a long time. It's like, no, they've been doing it 2 to 4 weeks, and this is what they have to say about it. When I work with my clients in this system and everything, it gives them the tools. I really believe in people having the tools and not being reliant on me. Okay. And I once had a business person try to give me advice, and she goes, your model is all wrong. You can't keep your clients. You can't string them on. You can't keep them. And I go, I don't want that. I said it might make it a little bit harder for me because, I don't have like years and years and years long clients, but I don't want that. I'd rather work with everybody in the world than just keep a small bevy of people. I'm the good
Right.
doctor. I'm the good doctor. I don't want you to come back to me. I want you to be, have the
You don't
tools.
want to put people on a pharmaceutical prescription.
Exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. I want people to be independent and be able to do what they do because I'm for the people. This is not about me. I factor in second. It's about my clients. It's about people utilizing this system. And it's not about my agenda. My agenda is my client's agenda. And I get people writing me after 5 years working with me saying, I'm still using your system. It's amazing. I just want you to know I'm a CEO of a worldwide company. I have 2 amazing children. I've met the man of my dreams. And when I first met you, I had nothing. I didn't even know what I wanted to do with my life. And that's okay because you don't have to know what you want. And a lot of people think they're stuck if they don't know what they want. So you can find me Blog Talk Radio / Sterling Mire. Yeah, I give consultations, complimentary
Okay.
consultations for my clients. My website is getyourlifenow.com. And yeah, I am so thrilled to be here, Heidi. I really appreciate being here. And I can't wait to talk with you about like working. Yes, let's work some things up for people. I think that'd be
Absolutely.
great. Create
Absolutely.
something new and exciting. Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah. So I've always focused, working with my clients from an educational standpoint, but I do get a lot of questions quite often of I need help with follow through. I need help with implementation. And So definitely, we need to move forward with this. We certainly do. So we'll keep all of our listeners and our audience and our followers posted, and we will reconvene, have a conversation, and then give them the details after that.
I would love that.
Thank you, Sterling, very much for joining me today.
You got it.
This has been a phenomenal conversation.
I am so pleased to be here.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you.